Hello, everybody. Welcome to Football Tonight, brought to you by TopFCTV. My name is Chris, and I have a wonderful panel today to recap Premier League's weekend that just passed. Man, what a weekend have we had, and a lot to talk about. We have a United representative, two City representatives, which is nuts, and a Newcastle. So we got golden toilets all over the place around here. We're just, but it's wonderful, and I'm happy to have, of course, Kevin. He's a guy that's been on the channel before. Laurent, he's a usual. He's got his podcast on Sundays, recapping the weekend, and obviously he's on with me on the Football Tonight podcast. But I want to welcome Mulv from Noisey Pod. Amazing content. I'm telling you, he is just a great guy, and you can say anything negative about City. He's just positive about everything City related. You know what I mean? And why wouldn't he? I mean, they're just winning everything, really. But I have a question. I have a question for some City fans, and of course for everybody that's all of us here that we can discuss in a minute. Or maybe we can start with that. Actually, let's start with that. My question is City as good as they were last season? Why haven't they beat any top 4, top 5, top 6 teams? If I'm not mistaken, they're going to play Aston Villa here in the next few days, or maybe tomorrow. When is it? Tomorrow. So we'll see what happens then. But I mean, tying at home 3-3 with Tottenham, the last one. They beat Newcastle, of course, at home in the beginning of the season, 1-0, but it's still a victory. But other than that, I want to get these guys' opinion. Of course, smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and let's get started, man. How are you guys?
Brilliant, mate.
Good. So what? You guys tell me. I mean, what's up with City this season?
So the question was, are City as good as they were last season? You do remember last season, right?
Right.
You do remember what happened? How on earth were they ever? How on earth were they ever going to be as good as they were last season? That's point number one.
Okay. Are you content with the football that they're playing?
No, absolutely not. No. But it will get better. It always gets better with Pep. So no, I think last season was a one-off, just incredible. I mean, it's only been done once before in English football. It's something
the Manchester team.
That's right. Well done. Because it is an incredible achievement. And I hate diminishing other people's achievements. It's ridiculous. So I would never do that. It's because it makes your own look worse. So yes, but you take that team, right, and you take out of it very experienced players who contributed big numbers in terms of goals and assists in Gundogan, in Mahrez, and on top of that, you've lost Kevin De Bruyne for most of the season, and what we're coming to learn, a huge part of the team also in John Stones. So I think it's to be expected that City is struggling quite a bit. Struggling is, obviously relative. That they're still in the mix at the top, but they're definitely not what they were last year. And I think we're all hoping, Laurent and I, that Pep is tweaking things right now to find out what the second half of the season is going to look like for us and get back to where we were, hopefully. So that's what I think is going on, mate.
Yeah, I'd echo those things as well. It's really hard to be critical of a treble winning team. I said at the start of the season that Arsenal would win the league, not because City were bad, just because like the famous line that that Peter Drury made when City won the league. Where does football go? Where does City go from here? You cannot possibly get yourself up to that level again. And I wrote it in a piece today. 3%, 5% of your levels, 3% finishing. There's your 3 draws, right? Haaland never misses those shots. A little bit of defense, a little bit. All Ake has to do is turn his head, and he sees Kulusevski coming from behind him. It's just little bit of levels, and then the level of the magnitude of players leaving the team. I thought about it today for really the first time. I was like, we don't have Riyad Mahrez because he was the one who had beat Spurs the year before.
Yes, in the same fixture. Yeah.
Well, if we're talking about the Tottenham game, guys, you do have to realize if Doku and Haaland and
Alvarez
and just say Gundogan was on that field yesterday, that was 4-1 first half, game over.
Yes,
Like-
exactly.
Like if you had like, I'm not even gonna say this in a bad way. If Doku finished that shot in the 7th minute when he hit the top 90, that's almost game over. Then it's 2-1 after 2 minutes of them. Like you can see that goal. Like Tottenham is Tottenham, and they play Angeball now.
I love it.
But
I have
you
to admit it.
playing like, look, the run by Son and like the way they got that first goal, that's just how they score against you guys. It's the break, it's the fast transition, it's just how they play against you, and it's kind of funny to see it every year. But
He's incredible.
like
Son is my nightmare.
Like Mulv, if I just want to hear your point, if that game is 3-1 halftime, did Tottenham even have a chance of getting into it?
I totally agree with you, Kevin, man. I think City lack a real ruthlessness about them at the moment, in the other team's box and in our own. But I'm with you. If we'd have put maybe one more goal past Spurs early on, I think we would have killed their hopes off. We just don't have that mentality at the moment.
And I think that the key players are really having to play. Like, you can't see City playing without Bernardo or Rodri right now, where they have to play every minute of every game. Last season, if you remember, Haaland came out of nearly every game, especially in the first half of the season. He was coming out early and Alvarez was coming in. So it's not so much, it is depth, but it's also like taking some of those minutes off, taking those moments of relaxation within games we're winning. Every game is to the end. Every game is not a struggle, but mentally a struggle for certain players who now know, Rodri knows, I can't miss games. And even then he misses a game, or God forbid Bernardo missed a game. So the room for error is a little bit smaller. Everything's just a little bit tighter and a little bit more difficult. And I really want to take this moment also as well to be like, this shows the Premier League is really, really hard to win. And one of the things that City does is make it look easy. And even City dropping off a little bit, even though we may look back in 3 months and be like, oh, I can't believe we said they were slipping a little bit. That you've got to maintain the levels. And that they did what they did, to your point, Mulv, is incredible. that they're even the thought of winning 4 Premier Leagues in a row is incredible.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that this is not normal. We're space aliens.
I guess like I just go over your point right there. So a few things I just see since the KDB injury and the John Stones injury that I really would like to hear for you guys to dive into right now. John Stones is like an alien, and he just shouldn't be that good as a center back, pulling up to the midfield and kind of running it. And the Rodri and Stones like partnership is telepathic. Why do you see Pep trying to put this like a Kanji $15 million signing in John Stones' shoes? That's question one.
Okay.
And you guys are playing a 4-4-2 kind of diamond thing right now, but you only have 2 strikers. And your only other attacking output that's on the bench is going to probably be Oscar Bob against Villa. So like really, I kind of want to hear you guys dive into Pep's like, is he overthinking too much? Should he just kind of like play the basic tactics that he does so well and just kind of keep this lone striker and create for Haaland up top? Or like, I just don't get it how Alvarez is trying to play this KDB role.
Yeah, that's a great question, Kevin. And those are both questions that I think all City fans are asking at the moment, mate. The first one on Akanji. So without Stones, we know Calvin Phillips isn't the answer, right? Pep's already decided from the get-go he wasn't going to be the answer. We all thought, well, we know he was brought in to be that person, but it just hasn't worked out. So you keep going down the list. The person that actually started that role for City, I don't know if you noticed this, was Rico Lewis. Right? And he was good at it, but Pep got a little bit concerned with his size. And when Stones came in, not only could he do the technical stuff that Rico Lewis was doing, but he was just a big body as well, and tough to get past, great in the air and defending set pieces, attacking set pieces. So Stones becomes the perfect player to play that role. And I am
that never existed. It was created, and he became the best person.
Maybe. So I would have first started by going back to Rico Lewis, but he hasn't done that for some reason. It may have to do with this whole issue of size. So if that's the criteria, then the next person down the list with the technique, with the size, is probably Akanji. And I think we all have to be patient in letting him learn how to play that role. Basically, he's done it 3-4 games. I thought he was great at it against Liverpool. In other games, he hasn't done it so well. But there are signs there that I think he can do it. So that would be my answer to the Akanji experiment in the Stones role.
Yes.
The second one.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, let me just finish quickly. The second one about Alvarez and the 4-4-2 diamond is, I think Pep is worried that without Gundogan, there's a big drop off in goals. And without KDB, he feels Alvarez is the best person to cover the gap in goals and assists that Gundogan left when he went to Barcelona.
And let me just stop you.
Go ahead, man.
Are you saying Alvarez has the same type of creativeness, or trying to just be there to maybe continue the attack?
He puts up really good numbers, if you've noticed, from that position, even though maybe he's not that's not his typical role, and he doesn't look like a Manchester City 10/8. He doesn't look like, he's not a traditional one, but he just somehow he puts up the same kind of numbers you would want from that position. So it works for the most part. Some he was off against Liverpool.
It's the thing that Gundogan had, that desire to, the fact that he's a striker. He wants to score goals. What he's missing is the through ball, and what we're missing is that 3/4 cross that De Bruyne provides that no one has.
But if Pep is looking for a replacement for Gundogan in Alvarez, shouldn't he play a lot more though?
He does play loads, mate.
He hasn't missed
almost every game.
Yeah,
but he doesn't finish games either.
He does.
Last game he came out. In a sort of important game.
He does come off when he tries to lock things up. Yes, he's the player that comes off. I think the other thing that's missing, that has happened because of Doku and because of Foden, because of the injuries, is one of the things that also coincided with Stones and the whole thing was this suffocating control, this concept of the pausa, the slowdown, that is the legacy of David Silva. The idea that the pace of the game can be slowed and controlled. We're not attacking all the time, because with Foden and Doku and Haaland all together, we get into the attack very quickly and the gaps open up. And the reason why Grealish is so important is he holds up the attack and compresses everything, so that when we do lose the ball, we're not getting hit on the break. So that's one of the things that's changed as well, that Gundogan was fantastic at. He would slow everything down. I can see him now with that one-footed turn. He'd spin around and then sort of get it going. And he, even from there, he might even put a through ball into Haaland. All that control of the pace of play is gone now, and we're going up and down. And that's part of the reason we're scoring, but giving up a lot on the break.
Agreed.
But just to, why I brought this all up, and to understand what Pep does with John Stones and Rodri, is you can see every time you watch them, and it's annoying to watch them because how well they run. But
awesome.
if Rodri goes up, John Stones knows where to be that exact position, to know if that breaking ball is going to get through. He knows where to be. If Stones go up, Rodri does the same thing, kind of slot back into that weird right back, fullback, over inverted type of weird position. When you saw that Sun goal, when Doku was your last man, Rodri had no idea Kanji was pushing up. It's such a weird thing to see. But exactly what you're saying, Mulv, if you trust him and you think he has the role, you'll see eventually when they know each other. But right now, when I was watching that game, you can see that if Doku is the last man and he's like, what the hell is going on? They're confused. And that's not good.
Yeah, that came from a City corner, unfortunately. Yeah. So our structure was that was our corner structure, which apparently is not very good if Jeremy Doku is the guy running back. I'm not sure Doku.
Now let me ask you,
supposed to be there.
Let me ask you this also, because I've heard a lot of City fans talk about Diaz. Are you guys content with what he's doing do you think Pep believes in him enough to put him on? The other day, I believe when me and Mulv were on another show, he was subbed. To see a center back get subbed, it's rare.
I love Diaz. He's the only defender who's a defender. He's traditional. He could play in a relegation
But
fight.
does Pep believe in him? That's the question. That, you know what
I
I'm saying?
think he knows and sees in him the Puyo, the steel that City 2 seasons ago needed desperately. And I think he knows that the legacy of the Vincent Kompany, even although Vincent Kompany played on a ball, but Vincent Kompany could play at any team. He could play in a relegation fight or a team that had the ball. Diaz is up for the fight. He is my line, and everyone laughs at me when I say this concept of Englishness that you need in the Premier League, this amorphous smoke in the world that you need to play in England. He carries that in him as a player, that he can play on a rainy day in Stoke. He can play in Burnley. He can play when we get relegated because the points deduction and we have to go to League One. Diaz will stay and he will go to Preston North End and kick lumps out of some fat striker who tries to push us around. That's why I like Diaz.
I like that Laurent brought up Vincent Kompany because, you know, at times Ruben Diaz is probably the closest thing we've had to Vincent Kompany. However, this season, he's the closest thing we've had to full Otamendi, which is something you never go. You never go full Otamendi.
Well, he does like to go flying in the air and kick.
No, he's having a bit of a dip. We love him. You know, he's exactly how Laurent described. He's the steel. He's the intangible lead. You know, the leader.
He's always our lowest rated. If you use like algorithm based ratings, he's always like a 6.5. But when you watch City, he's like, this guy is not. He's not good on the ball. He doesn't make great passes. He doesn't make difficult passes. He doesn't do any of that. But what he is the guy who is fit, who slaps guys' backs, who yells and points. He's our organizer. We wouldn't be who we are without him.
We're better with him than we are without him. He might be having a dip right now, but
I think he gets exposed when he's missing his partners, right?
But at the end of the day, he's like exposed. Is he not like the only original center back that you guys are playing with right now?
Original center back? What do you mean, mate?
Well, like Rodri's not a center back. Akanji is not a center back.
We play with more center backs than anybody in Europe, man.
but let me ask you then, Guardiola, you have him as a center back?
I mean, he's
left back right now.
Walker is a center back.
He can be. He's more traditional right back, but
the thing is, so left back for City is the drummer in Spinal Tap for this team. It is rotates, they explode, they disappear. It is a position that just never can be fixed. Although, funnily enough, I think Guardiola is the actual legacy of the John Stones role. He should be the one on that side playing because he really wants to get forward. But he does have a rash sort of Balkan challenge in him where he goes flying in the air and tries to kick people.
I think if Guardiola had been here one season already, I think you're right, Laurent. He would have been doing what Akanji's doing right now.
Look at how much
Stones is out.
Like, from what you can see every single time, and I was telling this to my friends at the bar when I was this weekend, watch how much Doku's going to change next year. Like,
he's going to stop doing all that. He's going to slow down.
When we talk about players that are going to change and how they change compared to Pep's role, Doku is so raw right now, and Pep is loving it because it's changing what Pep's team do. And the players are kind of saying, okay, look, the left wing is kind of raw. We're just gonna let it fly. And then when build up happens on the right wing, Doku's gonna try and do what Pep wants him. Right now, if he has the ball in the left wing, Pep is allowing him to just run at defenders. Next year,
it's not really working.
If Doku runs at players next year, Pep is ripping him off that field. He's taking him off and he says, look, you're not following my orders, sit on the bench. Like, yes or no?
It depends on how successful he is at it, mate. Like, if he's not successful at it, then yes.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying
then he'll get pulled off. But we need it. We need it tremendously. Somebody who, because I think Jack needs a kick up the arse. Honestly, somebody to challenge him and
lay off the booze.
Still drunk. Challenge him and make him a better player, and he'll love it. You know. Now we're excited about Doku. He's adapted quicker than we thought he would. He was described as raw when he came in, and when I think of raw, I think of somebody who maybe tries to do too much and loses the ball too much, but
Right.
really hasn't done that.
No,
And yesterday he was gonna have that goal would have been really
Oh, yeah.
really good. It just hits the
Mhm.
post. Now to move on from City, I want to ask you this because it's been going all over Twitter. Were City robbed yesterday with that call? Grealish going by himself against the goalkeeper. And Grealish is not known for finishing. So, I feel like the word robbed is thrown around a lot nowadays. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that one?
We had Spurs in the Champions League. That was robbery in 2018 with the offside goal for Sterling and the handball that changed the rule that gave us these terrible handball rules. So no, we were not robbed. I will tell you about robbery. That was not robbery. We lost that game because of finishing. Period. End of story. It felt very, very 18-19 City when Liverpool won the league. And when Stones and the Norfolk game, the 3-2, when Stones and Otamendi ran into each other and they all both got injured, we ended up with Fernandinho and center back, where City created chances week after week after week after week, couldn't finish them, and would give up goals on single attacks and lose games 1-0. It was inexplicable. But then we got Diaz the following season. But City, they have that in them, this idea of like creating stuff, we don't finish, then getting hit on the break and giving up goals. City have lost games to Spurs, specifically Heung-min Son. I want to give some Son love because he's one of the Premier League greats, in my opinion. The guy is a lethal finisher. Spurs have beat City in games where they have 2 shots on goal, both by Son.
Yeah.
And City have like 15, 20 shots. He's so good. I knew the second he was at the halfway line, he's scoring. He just would. Last season is the outlier. He's one of the all-time greats. I think it's his humbleness. There's something about the Asian player that doesn't, they're such hard workers. They don't lift themselves up. They don't have blue hair. They don't do anything. But this dude is way up there to me as an all-time Premier League player. He's probably going to end with 150, 200 goals in the Premier League. He'll probably never leave Spurs because his heart is in the club. Just an all-timer. He's going to go down with Harry Kane as the 2 great Spurs players of the era. Just an incredible player. And we talked about City for 20 minutes. Spurs were really, really fantastic and really, really fun and deserved their point, to be honest.
In the second half.
In the first half, they were on the ropes the way you'd expect them. And in fact, the thing that drives me nuts, and Mulv, you can talk about it, the amount of times you see Haaland make a run and the ball never comes. Never. Without KDB, that ball never gets played in behind. Spurs are playing a high line like it's Everest, and we're still not playing balls in behind. Ever. Yeah. It's shocking. Even the straight one, the Gundogan, the straight ball, we don't even play the straight ball through. I don't know. It drives me nuts.
Yeah. I was kind of looking forward to Haaland against Ange Ball, high line defending.
Vicario is so good.
He really didn't get back there, or he wasn't played through. And I agree with you in general, mate, that we need to find him more. But I probably is going to take Kevin De Bruyne returning for that to come back.
It's De Bruyne and Trent Alexander-Arnold. They both, that 3/4 half space cross come from when you're only like 15 feet through the half line, and they see those runs. They're just the 2 best I've ever seen at that cross.
I'm not putting Trent in KDB's league, but
that cross, yes, he can. Come on, the cross.
No. But anyways, let's move on. I guess City weren't robbed.
No, I don't think so, mate. I think it was a terrible decision, but I mean,
the way he just like the more things, it's not the rob. That's not the right word, but that's the nowadays football term that if something goes wrong with the ref, it's robbery or VAR, like whatever. The way
I blame the English for the word shambles.
Yeah, the way the ref was running though, like the way the ref was running to like he put out his arm for advantage and then put it down and then blew the whistle like as soon like it just like something was weird with his body language, but that's what he wanted. That's what probably went into his ear right away. Is all right, cool, blow it. And then that's what happened. And
he was caught in between.
It is.
He was caught in between, definitely, because you can see his body language go like this, and then it just,
Yeah.
And you
he
know
didn't
what?
know what
Let's
to
be
do.
fair.
But
Grealish is never finishing that. He's
well, we don't know.
he's
You
not a
never
good
know.
finisher. He
Never
would have
know.
yacked it.
Let's move on to the next
He's no
match.
Raheem Sterling.
To the next
I don't
match.
think so.
That was a big match this weekend, and it's the Manchester United Newcastle debacle. If not for the Magpies really, to be honest, the way they obliterated Manchester United, it's great. And I also sum it up into
Look at
this.
Laurent.
What did you just say?
Laurent's loving it. He's
Oh.
loving it.
but
It's my favorite.
I'm saying,
I'm the Schadenfreude king. I almost enjoy United and Liverpool losing
but
more than City winning.
But so, like, in watching this match, and I sum it up in this because I was watching the commentary. Obviously, I was watching the game. So the commentator, when Anthony Gordon scores, and he says the only surprise is why it took this long, and that's basically it sums up the whole match. But what a disaster! We got to break this. I mean, what are your thoughts? First of all, let me go with Kevin's take on as a Manchester United fan. Like, what the hell is? I mean, we can spend hours talking about Newcastle because they're just a great team right now, playing well. You got to give props to them.
So good.
They made United look that bad, of course, playing away in a tough ground. But why does your team, Kevin? Why do they make a target every week? They make an objective every week. Like, we got to make ourselves look worse than last week. Like, why? I don't get it, bro.
I can go into a lot, but there's
don't be blaming the damn owners. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
I know you're gonna
this
do
is
that.
nothing about the owners right now. This is nothing about the owners right now. This is about God. There's just so many words I can go on for the whole show right now. It could be just me. But no, it's ready. Look, we are playing with 2 8s and a holding 6, and he's just left to rot. Kobe Mino is an 18-year-old, very, very good youth project right now, and we're literally putting him out there because he's the only player that's willing to run in a 6 role, and he's doing it alone. He's rotting. It's like you can't play a double pivot 8 with a 6 like this and think you're going to hold any control. Ready? That's number one. So if we played a double 6 pivot, Amrabat and Mino, and like a Bruno up top, we would probably look a tiny bit better. I'm not even talking about the performance. Can we just look? Everyone saw it. If you have YouTube, if you have Twitter, Marcus Rashford.
Ugh.
The guy didn't run. The guy gave up after every single loose ball, every battle. Like, not even him, but just like that. I just said Marcus Rashford because there was times where the ball was 4 yards away from him and he didn't even try and go after the ball. So I'm just saying that. But then it was Bruno not going for aerial duels. Like, just every single person on that team walked off and was like, all right, cool, we lost. Why is there no passion? Why is anyone like willing to say, okay, cool, we're trying to go away and at least get a point? We know we're not good right now, but fight for a point. Nothing. There was no fight. But the main thing I just want to say is,
I feel bad for you, bro.
Bro, dude, it's pain, man. It's just pain. Like,
Mulv doesn't even want to go at you, bro. He just feels bad for
he was abused his whole childhood. He's so happy.
My last thing.
He's getting it all back.
I'm going to be objective.
Everyone knows.
It's terrible.
If you're trying to build something, do it like with consistency. My one thing is I'm not him out
they're
yet.
consistent.
All right, relax, Chris. Let me just finish my point until you can roast me more.
Go ahead.
But look, if there's consistency of playing form, then do it all around the pitch. That's what I'm really, really concerned about right now, and what I'm not seeing is why are players not getting dropped when they know they're not performing, but compared to other players, they're doing it in some positions, and there's no consistency around the whole field. So I'm really confused on what he's saying. Like, does he have favorites? Does he not trust these other players? They're not training well. Because cool, you can be training well and not do it on the game day. But if you're doing this on game day, you better be performing like a Superman in training then, because something is just not showing correctly. But
yeah,
bring the lash. I would love to hear it.
Yeah, how's Sancho not playing? Yeah, that's your point, right? Basically,
No.
But if Rashford's not going to run, yeah, he may not have defied the manager, but his behavior is
Yeah.
worse than anything Sancho could have said. You know what I
Sancho
mean?
can't be back in this team right now. There's other options. Like, yes, even though Anthony is not a GA merchant, put him on the right wing and let him run, because guess what? He keeps shape. He actually runs back and helps you overlap and does this. I know he's not talented right now. He's
Also,
not showing it.
How do
Fine
you
to go
play
back to
Luke
Brazil for
Shaw
40
at center
million.
back?
Sorry?
What are you doing? Why is Luke Shaw playing center back? You have Varane. What are they doing?
Why
That's what I'm
is
saying.
Martin
Like,
Varane, does he?
why is
That-
Martial
Why?
playing instead of Hoyland?
Hoyland was hurt. He has a back injury.
Højlund was hurt.
But he came on the game.
Yes, he wasn't fully fit. He's not, like, there's match fitness. You can say you're 60%, 70% match fitness. He was hurt and he wasn't. I'm happy he wasn't rushed back, but there's things about this game that, like, look, the first half wasn't that bad. Like, I'm just saying this objectively. The first half wasn't that bad. Eddie Howe came out in the second half and looked like we were toddlers. Like, it wasn't even like it was all right, we can put it like men against boys first half. It was toddlers against retired men, like level of skill gap of just experience. It was unbelievable.
Oh, he dropped
And
out.
he did.
There he is. He's coming back. He's not quitting. He just got internet problems. But yeah, man, everybody else want to have a.
Yeah, I do want to jump in. The thing that I want to jump in about is more the Newcastle thing. When Joe Linton at his best, he just looks like a battering ram destroyer machine. Now, he's not the footballer that Moussa Dembele was with Spurs, but he reminds me of that kind of powerful runner who just wants to run over people and take the ball from them and then do it again.
The whole Newcastle team is just bullies. They're professional bullies, and I don't want to look. We can just to understand what happened. You can see the entire United midfield of how it's operated. They need time on the ball, and they don't want to get bullied off the ball. Yeah, obviously, the Prem doesn't give that to you. What I'm super excited for on Wednesday is Conor Gallagher on the Chelsea team isn't there. They don't press much. Chelsea do not press as much as you think without Gallagher on that field. We can get something at Chelsea if they give us time. The issue is if they get balls through and they have pace on the wings, we have Delo and Wan-Bissaka.
Wan-Bissaka was just having like all kinds of problems. Turned around, right, left. He didn't know where he was at.
Wan-Bissaka can go back to any team. Like, he won't start for Luton. Like, he's not. He's a good one-on-one defender.
That's it.
Guess what?
But who puts him on there? That's what I'm saying.
I think when you see, I think one of the things I think about with United is they can't walk and chew gum. They can't do two things at the same time. They are, in fact, and this is shocking, a good defensive team. They don't give up goals. Their problem is they can't score, but they can only not give up goals if they play Wan-Bissaka. So what happens is he's a good defender, sort of, if you don't run around him too much, if he sits back. But in build-up, teams just let him have the ball, and once he gets the ball, they press him. And so their build-up is a joke, and they can't get out from wherever they are, right? So if you look at all the heat maps and stuff, it was all Route 1. They could not get out from where they were. They're making Maguire look like the best defender in the league because he's doing what he can do, which is sit in not too far from the 18-yard box. Things are in front of him. He can control and sort of head balls away and do the things that he wants to do. Yeah, they can't seem to walk and chew gum. They can't attack and defend. If they try and attack, then they give up 3 to Galatasaray. If they try and defend, then they can't score because they can't get the ball to anyone because the guys are so isolated. They're way out in another country and they're just waiting for balls that never come. So they just seem to be like, as much as we feel like they're disjointed, they actually are disjointed. But Kevin, one thing I think about is like, you're in HR. Think of it like it's not a football team. Going to work at Old Trafford must be awful. It must be like working at Sears before they declared bankruptcy or working at another big brand. It's not functioning. That's why the players look the way they do. Just gotta think of it like a job that everyone's about to get laid off.
Let me get Mulv's opinion on this whole situation though.
Yeah.
I want to know what he's thinking on.
Well, I'm no Man United fan, and I don't have any sympathy for the club that has the most expensive squad in world football, but I think Casemiro is a massive miss for them in the middle of the park. Everything starts
Yeah.
in the middle of the park, mate.
Can I pause you for 1 sec? Mo,
Yeah.
can I pause you? Every single fan was blaming Casemiro in the beginning of the year. Why is he not performing well? Why is he not performing well? Amrabat took the role. Now everyone thinks Amrabat's the worst loan signing we've had in 2 years. Amrabat got dropped. Mino in the midfield. Mino's doing well, but he's running a lot and he doesn't have much space in the midfield. The system right now is not working.
But let finish. Let Mo finish his point though.
No, yeah, Casemiro's not the greatest, but he's the best they've got in that CDM role. I don't rate that Amrabat clown. I'm sorry. I think that was a rash World Cup signing. He runs like I run. Looks like me a bit. I'm trying to be objective here because I objectively
Don't, man. Just
I objectively dislike this team. But
all laugh at them.
no, going to St. James's Park right now is an absolute nightmare. I mean, that's the team that got us knocked out of the Carabao Cup because they bullied us all over the pitch. Tackles were being celebrated like goals.
Yeah.
By the St. James faithful. It was insane, man. And they're just a really good team. You know, they've got some injuries even, but the mentality is incredible at St. James's right now. So I wouldn't feel too badly about losing 1-0 to Newcastle at St. James's Park. So take that game out of it for a minute. They need to be stronger down the spine. I think Casemiro coming back will help them. The kid, Mainu.
Mainu, yeah.
Mainu.
He looks like a player to me. I would stick him next to Casemiro.
Look at that, Mulv. You know how to run a midfield better than Ten Hag right now. Look at that. You get 2 sixes in that. And you get a whole. You guys condense it. What we're doing. Sorry, I'll let you finish. Go on.
No, I think Mason Mount is actually a good player, and he needs to get fit and show it. So it's that spine for me that needs sorting out.
Consistency.
And so, oh man, Onana, what's going on with Onana, man?
Well, no, let me ask that question. Let me ask that question because now, just people tweeting out that the Manchester United are looking for a new goalkeeper now.
See, there were two goalkeepers they could have gone for in the summer. I said this on our podcast, right under their noses. One is Stefan Ortega, City's backup keeper. Right, I would hate to see him go to Man United, but he would be perfect for them because he's like a light Edison Light. You know, he plays the ball really well. He's a good shot stopper. And the other one is, I know it sounds funny, but the lad at Brighton, Jason Steele. I know he's 33 or whatever, but he plays with no fear with his feet, and he'd be great for Ten Hag and Man United. And they could have had both of those keepers for less than what they spent on Onana. But
they didn't play for Ten Hag, so they don't get signed.
I know.
Having a manager sign players from his former team.
That's probably the biggest knock on Ten Hag is he's bringing his own guys in and they're shit in the bed. You know what I mean?
So
I do have one comment that I made on my show, and then you can go. I think when I see Newcastle and I think about United, I think Newcastle play the way United pundits say is the United way. Like, they think that that's how they're supposed to play, with fight, with spirit. If you listen to Gary Neville and you listen to Roy Keane and you listen to Paul Scholes, they fought and clawed for every single win, and they gave spirit, and they were all crap footballers who played for the badge, right? That's their narrative.
Whoa.
That's how they portray themselves.
Gary Neville, Paul Scholes, and Roy Keane.
Stop. That's how they portray themselves, as lunch pail players who played for the badge. They never go, "Oh, I was really slick and I could play the ball." They're always like, "You get stuck in." They all had tremendous skill. They were great players, but their mentality is, "We were a hardworking team who played for the badge." Newcastle are what United fans think they should be, if you know what I mean. Like, the way they play is their narrative.
Kevin, go ahead and finish your point on Onana, man. Too. What do you think on that?
He's in like a really hard place right now, Ten Hag, to understand what he does, because there was plenty of chances in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup to put Bayender in. He was fit. There was times where Onana had a good game, the previous one, but that's when you signed the Turkish #1 and the Fibonacci captain of last year to be on the bench for these reasons, right? We got rid of De Gea in a really terrible way, but that's what the manager said. I don't want him anymore. The club agreed. They got rid. Bayender hasn't had a single minute in the United shirt yet. How do you possibly throw him in when you do this? When the team's performing like this, how do you think, yeah, if Maguire makes a mistake and does a bad back pass and Bayender messes up and it goes right to a counterattack and a goal in the first minute against Chelsea, like, it's just going to be just as bad. So he's not in a place where he can just drop Onana and put in Bayender and think it'll fix this team. What he really needs to do is, like I've said to multiple people all on any platform, is he needs to do exactly what I said in the beginning of the show. Is form. If you're going to do form on some players, you need to do it for all. He should have dropped Onana a few weeks ago and gave Bayender a few minutes. And this isn't 90 minutes that needs to change. He can easily do it. Like, I'm not comparing him, but Arteta did it. He randomly was like, "Oh, Ramsdale, you're gone. Raya's in at halftime sub," or some crazy stuff like that. If he wants to try things, this is like, now is the time. He's tried every single senior player we have in a certain position and not in their exact position. He's gone out and said, "Look, the board trusted him to say, I want control of the entire team for a summer," and he messed that up. But exactly what Laurent was saying is, if no one's around you to support you to run a company, again, I guess other than the Glazers that we all know are such wonderful people, you're going to fail. So, like, just what I was saying before I jumped on this show with a few other friends, is the signings that we've made are pretty poor, but let's just say, for the few things that we tried to make that Ten Hag wanted to do in his first year and bring in to play a certain style of football that he wanted, Frankie de Jong and Casemiro are different players, right? There's just point one. We don't have a ball-playing midfielder. We can't really – it's really hard to play out of the back without that. We wanted a certain center back. We ended up Varane. Kim Min-jae, Varane, similar, but you don't build up with Varane. You kind of try and win now. What do? We won a Carabao Cup. There's a few things that you really have to kind of look at this now, that he's tried his best. He's given it all, but I'm not saying out yet. But what I really need to see him do now is he's trying this form thing with some players. He just needs to do it with all. And if it doesn't work, then we just really have to see where we go, because every United fan, again, let me just say, we all said 3-4 years with him. We said if we give him a team behind him, a recruitment team, a director of football, and a board that wants to back the manager, those three things are just named we don't have. Like, if we give it to him, he can maybe build something. We didn't give that at all. We just said, "Hey, go do your job with your previous."
That's
Ajax.
not accurate, though. He has been backed.
I'm saying
got him.
We don't have a recruitment team or a director of football. How can you trust a manager to make every single decision?
Yes.
So what
Agreed.
I'm saying there.
Agreed.
So now, if something changes, come this, like, yes, but then you also had to say, what changes since 2013? We've gotten rid of managers, and now we all see it right now in the press and in Twitter, is the players giving up. We've seen that since 2013 in Sir Alex. When does the players say, "Look, you're gone"?
Well, they got to get rid of that. We got to move on to Liverpool and Chelsea. But yeah, I mean, I think that Rashford is on $400K a week. You just renew his contract before the beginning of the season.
But
How
he
can you
feeds the children.
But yeah. Well, it is what it is.
Which is nice, to be fair.
It is nice, but we're talking about football. So now let's move on to Liverpool's crazy comeback, man, quickly, and then we'll also talk about Chelsea at the end, and we can call it off. Liverpool will just not go away. Fulham will not go away, which is crazy.
Good.
At Anfield. It was nuts. Somebody told me if Liverpool don't lose at Anfield, I tweeted
They
it
never
when
lose at
when they went
Anfield,
down,
ever.
and then when they scored the winning goal, I was like, I guess they were right, because it's nuts, man. They were just present, but there's something about Liverpool that doesn't convince, because I was talking with Jamie. He's a Liverpool fan. He's got a
Jamie Carragher.
no, not him. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I know Mulv, and then I don't go that much higher. You know what I mean? but no, he was telling me it's cool, it's nice. The crowd goes up. It's the essence of English football. You see the fans just jump up, and it's all beautiful. But I just want to win. I just want to win a game and not have to suffer the whole time. That's what he said. It's a Liverpool fan. So Fulham. This is Fulham we're talking about. 3 goals at Anfield. Now, yeah, you do score 4, but ultimately, like he said, you suffer. Liverpool suffers. So what are your Mo? Let me hear your opinion on this team that could be potentially Liverpool and Arsenal could be the teams that compete with City for the title. So what are your thoughts on this Liverpool, man?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't see this game, but I can speak about them, in general. And yeah, they're very scary, man. They first of all, we can't beat them at Anfield, so that's a big
Never.
problem for us.
Can they beat you? Can they beat you at the Etihad?
Not of late.
Not
Of
really.
late,
No.
we've sort of had their number at the Etihad. This last one was what? Was 1-1? What was it?
1-1, yeah.
1-1,
The late Trent
yeah.
goal. It was 2 weeks ago.
1-1, yeah.
We probably should have won that, to be fair. I think we were
Yeah.
slightly the better team, even with our injuries.
Especially first half.
But they he's got them. He's replenished the midfield. I think he's made some good signings in the midfield there. The McAllister at the number 6 experiment reminds me a lot of when we used to need Gundogan to play that role. McAllister reminds me a lot of Gundogan.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. I was surprised that City went in for McAllister, to be honest. At that price, I thought
but
City should have been
Liverpool
in.
had targeted him, and the second the window opened, they put the money down to grab him.
Hey,
Yeah.
but what a shot! What a shot!
I'm surprised we went in there.
What a
Anyway,
shot.
yeah, great goal. No, they scare me as a City fan, to be honest with you, because they are the only team in recent years to take us to the wire, like right to the wire. Like Arsenal almost did. They dropped off a few weeks early, but Liverpool literally have taken us to the wire twice and won it, of course, famously for the first time. Premier League, that is.
With no fans. Let's just
they
remember they had no fans.
They worry me more than Arsenal, I think. But I won't lie and tell you that I don't fear Arsenal. I think they're a very, very good team too. And City are really going to have to put something together over the next couple months to keep up with those two, in my opinion. So I rate both of those teams, to be honest with you. Liverpool maybe slightly more because they've done it before.
Right.
Yeah, that rebuild. I think the weakness there is that the McAllister thing's not quite working. I think the thing that is interesting is they sort of replaced 2 defensive-minded midfielders in Fabinho and Henderson, who at their best just control the midfield. Henderson running, covering up all the problems that Trent posed every time he went forward. He would just fill in behind them. And Fabinho, just that poise on the ball, had that amazing from center back, half turn, spray it out, and off they went, right? That same way that Rodri does. And now they've just done the offensive side of it, but they don't have the steel to really hold things down. And I think the other piece is, just in terms of giving up the goals, Tsimikas is a nice squad player, but having him there for a month or two, he starts to wear thin, and you're really starting to feel the Robertson piece where you're just like, he was the other defender along with Van Dijk. Nothing came down that side when they were at their best. Robertson and Van Dijk locked everything down. You couldn't score on that side.
Let's also talk about the gem and goal that they have. Like Alisson,
Alisson's a killer.
They have the second least tied goals conceded this year, other than Newcastle with Nick Pope, and now he's out for 6 months. Like most of those shots that Fulham took yesterday were
Alisson gets them.
Like Alisson gets those. Like it's like that header, even though it was really like he just jumps. Alisson's in the way of that header and getting to that ball. Yeah. They're gonna miss him a lot, and we can talk about the Liverpool back line and how McAllister is playing the 6 role, even though he's not a 6 at all. But like there is going to be some games become January if they don't, like whenever Alisson gets back. I think it's probably going to be 3 weeks or so, they said. But they're going to take some high-scoring games, and if Trent doesn't score a worldie of a free kick, or like Endo doesn't, like that Endo goal could be goal of the month. Like
Endo goes no,
thing is,
but I
dude,
think
that
the
shit happens
McAllister's.
at goddamn Anfield all the time. It's not luck. It's Anfield. There's ghosts. There's leprechauns. There's Irish immigrants. They just get you. The floor starts to suck you in, and they steamroll you, especially at night in the Champions League. I'm thinking of the 4-3. Bobby Firmino ate Manchester City for lunch. It'll hurt me forever.
The Barcelona thing.
The Barcelona thing. They just have that thing. I hate them. Now, Fulham, I was like, Fulham are not going to do this. Something weird's going to happen, and they're going to find a way to lose this game.
Let's talk some Chelsea, man, to finish this one off. The Blue Devils. It was, some people thought that VAR was a little more towards Chelsea. The Blue Devils. Hey, that's what I call it. But I mean, I feel like, well, Enzo is a good thing. I don't know who we mentioned before that could be similar, but yeah, Enzo Fernandez was really good. Is what Chelsea fans wanted for him to kind of win you a game. He did that, but
can we Chris? I'm going to cut you off right there. Can we all just understand? Enzo was never a GA merchant. He was never going to get you those assists that you wanted. He was never going to get you that winning goal. He's a player that creates for the players and brings the ball up to give it to the creators. He's one of the best in his position. Why does, I'm defending Chelsea here, and I don't like that I'm doing it, but look, I knew when Chelsea paid $115 million for him that he was never going to be 14 goals and 8 assists final game of the season. He was going to have maybe 3 and 6 the whole year. But guess what? Now that he gets 2 goals in a game and they beat Brighton down a man, he's the best since sliced bread. Brother, he was good everywhere he's been. River Plate, Benfica, he was good everywhere. Why is it now that he gets 2 goals and then Chelsea's oh my God?
And he doesn't.
It's more fun this way.
In my opinion, he doesn't have enough help in the middle, because for him to carry the ball, he does what Declan Rice does. And
yes,
for him to do that, he needs to have some help, because if he goes forward, then nobody's home and it's
supposed
chaos.
To be Caicedo.
Yeah, but Caicedo played well in this Chelsea game, but hasn't been doing that. Hasn't been doing that the whole time. So what are your thoughts to finish this nice episode on Chelsea? And I mean, because at the end of the day, they win with Brighton. Brighton made it difficult, but they're 10th. Chelsea.
I love Brighton. And we all know I love Brighton. They are missing Lewis Dunk, who's the most underrated defender in the Premier League. I'm saying that with authority, with my chest out. I love him. Most red-carded defender in the division. He's got 6 straight reds. God love him. But they were missing him in the box. Van Heck and Igor hadn't played together. For Chelsea to score 2 goals on set pieces is unusual. Brighton didn't defend those well. And then Conor Gallagher gets himself sent off before the half. What I thought is a positive for Chelsea is the spirit side of things. They hung in together. They got a dodgy penalty. It happened. It was bull. The Milner thing. Anyway, they finished it. They get the 3-1, and then they just sort of hang on and fight their way through and get the win because they're a good team. Chelsea are good. They have talent. But I just don't. I still think that they're just going to be inconsistent all season. They're young. They're trying to find their parts. To your point, Kevin, you've said it a million times. Can you just play the same players week on and week out so we can see who they are? I like when Caldwell's in there. I think Levi Caldwell's really good. I like that partnership.
Did you see? Just pause. When he scored, he was about to celebrate, and he was like, "Wait."
He celebrated, and then he went, "Oh, I played for them."
Wait, I played here since I was
yeah.
Wait,
one thing. Let me ask Mulv this and put him on the spot. Twice back to back, they lose their captain. Does this team not have a
problem? They
don't have leaders?
Sorry.
So
no,
Yeah.
It's that edge thing. They play with an edge. That's a Pochettino
I
thing.
think
They
who
were-
are they? I
Spurs were
guess
like,
Thiago Silva's the leader there.
Yeah, but he's not even the
Yeah, but he's
captain. I don't know if he
39.
played.
Who's the captain?
Who was- it was
it
Gallagher.
was
It
Gallagher.
was
He was sent off,
Gallagher.
and then the game before it was Reece
It
James.
was
He got
Reece
sent
James,
off.
yeah. Because
Yeah,
those guys are like been at
To-
Chelsea since they're 8 years
to
old.
to Mo's point though. I mean, yeah, why is Thiago Silva not? He's a legend of that club.
Because he doesn't
at
speak
this point.
English.
Who cares about that? He is a boss. He's like Casemiro. The same thing. The same thing with Casemiro. Oh, he doesn't speak English. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter if he's speaking Portuguese. The referee is going to look at him in fear. It's not the same as putting Mino out there. The referee is going to.
I don't know. That's my go-to. That there's a bias.
Let me hear Mo's
corners.
opinion on this
Chelsea.
Chelsea situation.
Yeah, so Chelsea.
Do you fear Chelsea like Liverpool?
No. Chelsea have the combination of brand new manager, brand new team, essentially, right? They got rid of most of their dead wood.
The whole
so
thing is hollowed out, though, if you really think about it. Marina Bernskaya checked. It's basically a new club with Chelsea paint on it.
Yeah, so I know they spent loads of money, but I think realistically you're gonna have to be patient with Chelsea. I think they're a case of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So they're heading the right direction, but it's going to be a slow burn, I think, for them.
It's such a difference. Like, sorry, just to cut you off.
It's all right.
Man United's in a crisis, and like Chelsea is. Sorry, let me just look at the table here. 5 points behind us, and we can't ever take years off because we're Man United. And Chelsea under Roman, they win everything. They fire managers every year, and they start winning again.
But the thing is,
want to be compared
it's
to
like
Chelsea?
not headlines.
No, but
You're not you're 10 times the size of Chelsea.
Well, no,
I know.
hold on.
It's funny though. Like,
but also Chelsea just won. You got to take that in consideration. When you just like if City won the treble and then all of a sudden this season people hammer them because they didn't win the treble or they didn't win the Premier League or they didn't win anything, that would be unfair. Chelsea just won it a couple years ago, the biggest trophy in the world when it comes to club. United have been in shambles for 10 plus years.
It was the war that got them. It was Putin.
Oh yeah, they lost the Browns. They lost the boss, man. But
sorry, Mulv.
No, it's cool. It is interesting to compare those two. I mean, if we're honest, United haven't even sniffed a title challenge in a decade. Like we've never gotten to like January, February, and where somebody's saying, "Oh, United could win the title." Like that
we got
hasn't
second
happened.
place, but we were.
I know, but you weren't even in it, mate.
14 points off in March and second place. So yeah, I don't know what you can say.
The two goals from Pogba game when we were ready to march the
that
title.
season.
Damn it. No, but it's like, look, I think Chelsea really need to understand that they are not going to get the wins they want unless they have this 34-year-old guy that actually comes in that can kind of say, hey, look, it's 1-1.5. Settle down. Take the nerves off this match, an away match. Like, say if it's 1-1 at Villa Park this year, and they buy someone in January, and they just kind of say, look, take the nerves out of this game and just play our football and watch. We'll get that goal. Like, I can see that happening, but will Todd Bowley give more money out? Do they even have that possibility of doing this? Getting that free for someone? It's just, they're missing that, exactly what we're all saying. The leader that can control this game. If your captain is going to get sent off, every person on that pitch is saying, look, what do we do right now? We just went down. They just tied it up. What do we do? Or they just conceded a really, really good goal. What do we do? And they're just like, oh, cool. Well, he's gone. And now we're down to 10 men.
Cole Palmer is going to take over that club.
No, my God.
City legend.
Oh, no.
Go on, son.
No.
We'll take that $40 million. We'll put it right in our pockets. We'll buy some.
I appreciate everybody coming on. That was it for this episode of
Arsenal,
Football
top
Tonight.
of the league. Let's just remember that.
Oh, that is true. That is true. We didn't talk about Arsenal. Gosh.
2 great goals. Some of the
what can you
best
say about the
goals
goodness? I mean,
see. Classic Wenger goals.
It's whether they can keep performing, knowing that they're top and they have to win, and having that. I feel like right now Arsenal must feel like somebody that's driving.
They can't lose Saliba. That's the only thing.
Look, and the cop is behind you the whole time, and it's whether you get nervous, you know what I mean. So City is right behind them. They're third, but who else is it? Is it Liverpool? Yeah,
Liverpool's
Liverpool. Well, I mean,
Liverpool.
It's
it's
Arsenal,
right
Liverpool, City.
again. 2-3 cops right
with
behind them.
Aston
Actually, Aston Villa.
in fourth.
So we'll see what happens. The Premier League messed up the whole schedule. Everybody's playing every day. I think tomorrow.
This, my friend, is
Tomorrow is
the
Arsenal
festive-
playing.
These are the festive fixtures.
Yeah.
This is when we separate the men from the boys.
Yeah, tomorrow
football.
is Arsenal Luton, and then after that Liverpool Chelsea versus United. Liverpool play, who do they play?
We have
well,
Villa.
they play somebody.
No, City, Villa. Yeah.
And then the same day City Villa, yeah, of course. So after that Newcastle and all that stuff. But listen, we have to call it off. I appreciate everybody coming on. Kevin, Laurent, of course, Mulv, I appreciate you coming on, man. I know you're a busy man, so I appreciate it. Hopefully we can get you on in another time. But I appreciate everybody coming on, and
Pleasure, mate.
Thank you, man. Hey, actually, let us know where we can find you.
Yeah. So Noisy Neighbors is mainly a podcast, a weekly podcast. If you're a City fan, you can catch it on any of your podcast apps. We also do some live streams as well, but that's sort of our side hustle.
Yeah,
Mainly the podcast. Check it out.
Yeah, check it out. You can also hear this podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and the same thing with Noisy Neighbors.
Noisy Neighbors.
Noisy Neighbors, yeah. So, and not just if you're a City fan. I mean, these guys are amazing, man. They talk about everything. So, regardless,
Thanks,
go check them out, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.
Come on, City.